You know, you've got no one to chase. You've got to string the same lines together, lap after lap after lap, and occasionally, you know, you could lose a bit of concentration and slip up. As you said before, here they run very close out against the ribble strip, and there's just dust on the edge of that ribble strip. You drop a wheel, you can spin one of these cards very, very easily indeed. So it's a bit of a walk in the park, but he still needs to keep the concentration level at a high, otherwise he can drop it.
Well, Matthew Muller is the man that has the most to gain if this man in front right here makes any mistakes. Personally, I can't see it coming, although Lau demonstrated to us that, well, basically stuff can happen. I'll change the wording of that particular phrase, but it does happen. He was leading quite convincingly, and I think at the moment he's just starting to stretch out a little bit. I guess fitness will play a bit of a part in this one as well. I would doubt he's pulling the same lap times he was very early in the piece. I don't know how many laps are to go, but there can't be that many.
Well, as I was saying before, you've still got to remain concentrated, but however, he probably could have pulled the pace back a little bit and kept it in the safe zone. There's Muller there in the 33 machine. Looks like he has bridged the gap a little bit, but as I said before, could be the fact that Dan Abbott has just rolled off the throttle a little bit, cut down the intensity of his racing, just to keep it nice and safe, make it to the finishing line.
Good way to watch if someone's starting to get tired is watch their head. Watch the way if it starts to sort of lean over in the corners. And I don't know whether Muller is struggling a little bit, but you can definitely see the old head starting to move around a bit. And that's no disgrace. They've done a lot of laps today, and this race itself is a very long event. What, 25 laps you're saying?
Yeah, big race. Ran about 25 laps. I'm not sure the exact distance, but it is a long way to go. Muller, I think, is still throwing it in pretty hard. I just saw before under brakes, the tail slid out a little bit of correction on the steering wheel, so he seems to be trying hard. You talked before about the left foot, the use of the brake from Troy Hunt. They do use an awful amount of brakes in these cars. They pull up on a dime from around about 110, 120 kilometres an hour down to 30 or 40 kilometres an hour in the space of about 20 metres.
You've got to be awfully careful too, Nate, don't you? Because they lock up awfully quickly too. So, and once they do, you stall, and they generally spin on their own length very quickly. So if you get on the brakes too hard, your head's going to be chasing your tail into the corner.
Well, you've got to be very accurate with the braking, because as you can say, the tail can beat you into the corner. They can certainly swap ends very, very easy indeed. I think Dan Abbott really would start to be feeling pretty comfortable in the car at the moment. He doesn't have too many laps left to run in this one, and he will be able to greet the checkered flag for the Reisa final. We saw the Clubmans earlier. I'll just run through the differences again. The Clubmans are a Yamaha 100cc engine, whereas the Reisas on screen now are a 100cc PV50 PCR engine, which is a purpose-built karting engine out of Italy. And the PCR is not only an engine, it's also a kart chassis. I think you see there for Abbott, it's a top kart for him, so he is doing a good job out in front.
Yeah, this has been pretty easy, really. I mean, when we saw our race leader, Lau, go out of it, Abbott assumed the position after a bit of a battle with Muller and Lawler. And this is pretty well walk in the park stuff. I think he's only got one lap left to travel. Dan Abbott has got stronger as this one has gone on. Muller is in second spot. Lawler is in third. There may have been some interest between Lynch and Lawler, but I think they will stay in that position. A long race, but entertaining nonetheless, Nathan.
Certainly has been. It's had a bit of everything, hasn't it? We saw that our race leader, early leader, Chris Lau, had this totally cleaned up and dropped the chain and unfortunately went out of it. It's not over for Abbott either, though. If he strikes any sort of kart malfunction, he will be out of it. You wouldn't want to think so. He's impressed with himself. He'll take the flag comfortably, and we'll get the Reisa final here at Eastern Creek Karting Raceway. Second across the line in the number 33 machine, Matthew Muller, and third place, Peter Lawler in the number 6 Techno. Fantastic racing from Sydney's Karting Raceway, the Pepsi Karting Champion of Champions.
That's an awfully thick tear-off.
Yeah, very large tear-off from the front of Troy Hunt. You see he's coming from the front row of the grid now. He finished 6th when he came from the back in the heats. Coming from the front, he'll be super tough. We're underway here at Sydney's International Karting Raceway.
I don't imagine that our race cam pictures of his helmet are going to be too spectacular. If he's leading the field, we saw him coming back through the field in our earlier races last weekend. I'm sure this is going to be exciting though. Winterbottom back in the field. Wes May is also one to watch. So was Tomlinson. Bart Price. McFadden was right in it. So was Varley. This is a big field. Lumberway was pretty tough last time too, remember?
Yeah, Lumberway certainly is one to watch in the Tony Kart, but it's Troy Hunt out in front at the moment. You can see it's later in the afternoon. These guys have had a big day of racing. 3 heats, a pre-final and the final, and the way they finished in the heats and the pre-final is how they qualify here for the final. A very prestigious race meeting here at Eastern Creek. The winner of this can rightly say that he is the champion of champions.
Whoa. It's
the Pepsi Karting champions as Wesley May makes the run up the inside of Mark Winterbottom. Now, I have to apologise to Mark Winterbottom. I said that Neil McFadden was the state clubman champion. It's actually Mark Winterbottom in the number 41 Cosmic Kart who was the state champion.
I think you got yourself out of trouble. Excellent pass, looking for the inside and made it in a blink of an eye. Of course, this track is fairly well condensed. It's awfully tight in places, although it's still extremely fast. So if you're going to make a pass, you better do it in a hurry and not mess around. And that was exactly the way that May did it. Has he got enough for Hunt out in front, though? A lot of slipstreaming here.
Well, it all depends on how much dicing goes on between Wesley May and Mark Winterbottom. If those two rip each other up a little bit on the racetrack, they're going to cost a bit of speed. But if we have a look now, it appears that they've caught onto the tail of Troy Hunt just a little bit and maybe reeling him in somewhat. You can see the sun now low in the sky. It might cause some problems with the visors as they drive up this back straight towards this top left-hander here at Sydney's Eastern Creek Karting Raceway. The problem with this race circuit is it's so tight, there's not much time to have a bit of a breakaway.
Well, I'll tell you what, we've just answered our own question about do they have something for Hunt. They are all over him, just at the moment, like a pack of dogs and a 3-legged cat. Hunt is your leader, but only just. May sitting there in the second spot as they sweep back to this right-hander. It's such a fast part of the course right here. Oh, May. I think he was just flirting with the idea then, because Winterbottom can have him if he steps out of line.
Well, he's putting him under pressure. Let's go on board now with Troy Hunt, the camera mounted on the helmet. Look, a look to the right, and again, there's Wesley May. Now, he's made the move up the inside and seems to be driving away. You see a bit of a gap, but Troy Hunt can carry so much speed through the corners with this top car. It's got a very powerful engine, and watch him now run right up onto the tail of Wesley May. He's applying plenty of pressure. Won't be long before you see this kart slip down the inside once again. This is where he makes the move. May goes to the outside, Hunt to the inside, and that first place for Wesley May didn't last long.
No, but I tell you what, they should change his name from Wesley May to Wesley Will. He blasted straight through on the inside of him just then. Winterbottom is sitting there mildly amused, wondering how on earth he's going to manufacture a pass. I imagine he's going to sit there and wait for a mistake from either one of them, try and get himself up to second. Looking back in the order, we also have Agland, Lumberway, Pontello, Moylan, and also Takubamba, the Japanese driver, who had quite a weekend, and a couple of good drives we showed last weekend on Speed Week.
Yeah, Bamba came from the front row, one of the heats, and led for a little while, but it wasn't long before the likes of Hunt came charging through. Wesley May is all over the tail of Troy Hunt. He's certainly applying pressure. Now, speaking of all over the tail, Mark Winterbottom in the 41 Cosmic Kart is starting to come into this one a little bit. I think it's vital for Troy Hunt to take this win. He's very keen. He's had the race face on all weekend. He's going to Europe to race for Top Kart in the World Championship next year, and he really wants to take a win away here today because he wants to leave and have a win for the team.
I tell you what, this is a fabulous race. Look at him, just a cheeky look over his left shoulder. Then May is right there with him, and there is Winterbottom. Great shot. What a cool-looking visor he's got on the helmet. This is an interesting event here. 3-way battle for the lead. I think that's the way it's going to stay, although you get the feeling someone makes a mistake here and all three of these guys could go out and all of a sudden our fourth place leader could inherit the lead. Just look at the pace, the difference in speed these guys have got over the fourth battle.
Yeah, they've certainly stretched their legs. They've left the rest of the field way behind. Have a look at the gap now, only a few laps into this, and they've certainly pulled out from the back pack. But that's the way it normally runs with kart racing. You get the freight train sort of a situation, a little bit of slipstreaming involved, and these front three are working together and pulling away from the field. But just right at the moment, I think the number 20 of Hunt is actually starting to make a little bit of ground on the likes of May. Here's the group further back. Looks like Andrew Tomlinson in the sixth, leading Nick Agland a lot further back than what he liked, and someone making the pass on him just there.
Ben George, excellent move.
Yeah, Ben George going through. Agland won't like that at all because he actually started right up the front from the second row, as a matter of fact, coming from fourth. He slipped right back.
Whoa, I tell you what, the carts get very twitchy indeed. There is George just ahead of the 55 of Agland, as Nathan was saying. The 7 card of Bart Price also right in there. So good racing no matter where you care to look. There's a great scrap for the lead. There's an even better one going on for 4th place as they sweep back out of this left-hander. This would be one of the quickest parts of the track right here, wouldn't it?
Yeah, certainly is the run downhill towards the left and right-hander to greet the front straight. The Clubman's rev to 15,000 RPM. They're an extremely well-matched form of kart racing. Same control tyres, Bridgestone tyres, same engines which are sealed, and not big horsepower, but as I said, the racing very tight. We'll take a break from the Clubman final here at Sydney's Eastern Creek Karting Raceway. We'll be back on the other side of the break with plenty more action.
Well, time for a break on Speed Week now, but we'll be back after the break with more kart racing from Eastern Creek. The Clubman final continues when we return. More from the Clubman final, the Pepsi Champion of Champions Karting Spectacular.
Some absorbing racing here from Sydney's Eastern Creek Karting Raceway. At the moment, Hunt has his hands full with a young fella named Wesley May. Mark Winterbottom trying to squeeze his way up into the top 2 as well. But Nathan, we've talked about it, battles right the way through the field. There's the number 7 of Bart Price together with the 4 of Benny George. Jason Barley is also in that scrap as well, so this has been an excellent race so far, the Clubman final.
Yeah, Mark Winterbottom now, he's starting to get itchy feet. You can see that Troy Hunt is starting to pull away just a little bit. Now he's applying the pressure to Wesley May. Nice run up the inside, exactly what we saw Wesley May do to Troy Hunt on the very same corner, and he's moved himself up to 2nd place. Now, it's going to be interesting to see whether Wesley was actually holding Winterbottom up.
Whoa.
Oh, look at that. Very nearly out of shape for Wesley, but how cool was that? Reaches out casually, touches the tyre just to clean the dust off it. Very, very cool move.
I think he was going to be in a whole lot of trouble. Well, look at him come back, though, to recover from a situation like that. He seemed to be, as you said, very cool in a crisis. Winterbottom working very hard to try and get away from May. And let's face it, as long as May attaches himself to the tail of Winterbottom, it's going to make it very hard for Mark to try and run down Hunt.
Well, I think what we saw is that possibly Wesley struck some trouble that allowed Hunt to get Winterbottom to get a little bit of extra momentum to make the way through, because I think Wesley is actually the quicker car. Jason Barley there on screen just cruising through. The backpack starting to come forward. Speaking coming forward, Wesley May takes Mark Winterbottom back, and he's back into 2nd place.
They all seem very aware, especially at the top level, Nathan, that body contact is not going to help anybody, and these karts, they don't have clutches, so as soon as you spin, you're basically done. You never keep these things running, so I guess if you're not in a position to keep the corner, you don't make an attempt to.
Yeah, well, regardless of the fact of whether you could continue to keep moving if you did spin these karts, it's so close, as you said, with the competition that if you lose a couple of seconds, you've pretty much blown it. And yet you'll often see a lot of guys racing, dicing. They'll make the pass, and then they'll point ahead. And what they're saying is, come on, let's not shunt each other. Let's not slow each other down. Let's try to catch the guy out in front.
Whoa!
The person at this stage is Troy Hunt, but Winterbottom, boy, I don't know what. He must be very quick, I think, out of those last couple of corners, because he makes up a lot of ground there.
Must be really hard not to get the kart too sideways through those S's just there and start to burn off your tyres. Here comes Winterbottom. He gave May a bit of a touch-up going into this left-hander. Can he get down across the bottom as they head back into this sweeping left-hander? This is really fast through here. This is where it must be difficult not to get off the track again. This time it was Winterbottom getting off the circuit. Gee, they're very close. There's no margin for error at all.
Boy, it's a big race too. It's over 20 minutes in duration, and they have to be so consistent. Lap after lap after lap. Same apex points, same lines, hit them. And their lap times would be within a couple of tenths of each other. Now Winterbottom down the inside, and he'll take him. That was a good move from May as well. Gave him a bit of space, he saw away.
Yeah, well, I think that May realised he came off that turn, got over the ripple strip, picked the cart up, and got a bit unsettled, and Winterbottom thought, it's a momentum game. You're talking about how evenly matched they are. If someone makes a mistake, even that small, it's going to cost you. Might only be 2-3 kilometres an hour, and all of a sudden, Winterbottom had himself a race-winning pass. Whether he can hang on to second now, this is going to be the big thing. Hunt is checked out.
Yeah, Troy Hunt, he's just had no one to contend with. He hasn't had to be defensive in any way. He's been able to string a good couple of quick laps together, and he has pulled away, as you said. But this is where the action is. The battle for second place, the Pepsi Champion of Champions here at Eastern Creek International Karting Raceway has certainly provided some fantastic action. And I think it won't be long before Wesley May, I think, is carrying a bit more speed. should make another move on Winterbottom.
Gee, they must be so fit, Nathan. I mean, this is a long race. As you said, oh, under brakes, very aggressive. Winterbottom didn't want to give that corner up. Must be very difficult not to ride a wheel under brakes sometimes. It would just shoot you off like a stone onto a lathe. Let's have a look at Winterbottom. Is there room to make a pass here? Back to the left-hander. They swing all the way around. A series of left-handers from here. This is where I like him, coming out of this sweeper right here. Let's see if anybody gets off the circuit again. Oh, look at that. They are way out there. Getting tired, maybe?
Well, that was very close, definitely in the later stages of this race, and he came very close to dropping the front right wheel in the dust, which should definitely be trouble. 1 lap to go, and Winterbottom throws it on the line, went wide, ducked it into the inside. Wesley stayed right in the middle of the racetrack, controlled it well. Now, this will be one of the last chances for Winterbottom. Can he go round the outside? No, that's the tough way, but you saw May stay to the inside to protect the line. Boy, a sensational race for second place on the last lap.
Well, he has to go for it, just like you said, Winterbottom. He's got about 4 or 5 corners to make a name for himself. Pulls up the inside. Oh, May didn't allow him any room. Can he come back across the bottom of the corner? No, he can't. May has held on brilliantly. Winterbottom will have one last cracker out of this turn. Fabulous racing, Nathan.
There's one chance for Winterbottom. Can he get the speed to the inside? No, Wesley cut the corner off nice and tight. Troy Hunt gets the win, though. Fantastic race. A convincing win. Second to Wesley May. Third across the line will be Mark Winterbottom. Great racing, Wade.
Oh, just brilliant stuff. And look at Hunt. He's celebrating. That's great stuff from Eastern Creek Karting Raceway.
Well, Troy, big day today. Congratulations on first place. Good feeling?
Yeah, definitely. We've had a bit of a bad weekend last weekend at a race. So this weekend we come here and wanted to put in a full effort and make sure we come out with a win. Second, we didn't want to settle for it again. So, this is probably my last race with this team in Australia. So very happy to go away with a win and hopefully the team, keep them all happy. And I'm glad that we had put a successful end to the year.
You told me you were going over to Europe next year. Are you able to take any of the team that you got here with you?
No, over there, we're the importers for the Top Cut product. Over there they have their own team because that's where it's manufactured. So we have their mechanics over there, but we're hoping at the moment that we can get some financial sponsors and I fly back home and have a few races back home with the team. And I've been with this team now for 7 years, the same engine builder, the same mechanic. So it's a sad feeling to leave, but it's something we have to do. And hopefully we can come back and reunite and have a few race wins again home at next year.